Welcome to the Bayonet's Countdown to November, a series of interviews with the candidates in the November 4th general election. I'm Dick Myers, and with me for this segment is Republican candidate for Maryland House of Delegates from District 29B, Deb Rey. Her opponent is incumbent Democrat John Bohannon. And it's not just the November 4th general election. We have early voting coming up from October 23rd to October 30th as you're watching this. So if you can't get out on November 4th, do early voting. The turnout's really important for both sides, I think, isn't it?
Oh, I think it is. I think the more people that turn out, it'll be a real message to the candidates to let them know which ideas the voters really believe in and trust in.
Mm-hmm. So you're running against an incumbent who's been in for a while. 3 terms, maybe?
Right. He was appointed in 1999 to the office, so he's been in for 15 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you're a political newcomer, so this is quite a challenge. Why did you decide first to take it on, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I decided to take it on because when I arrived here in Maryland, I was looking to get into politics. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I volunteered on different campaigns and things like that because I retired from the military in 2009 and we moved here. As a Republican, I don't see any Republican coming to Maryland to get into politics, since Maryland is such a blue state.
It's true.
But when I got here and I started working with people and understanding the issues and things that are going on, I thought, well, you know what, I really can make a difference. And so I want to get in, I want to get involved. As I started dealing with representatives up at the state government, I felt like we weren't being heard. We would go, we would protest, we'd write letters, and the vote never seemed to go our way. And so I said, you know what? I think I can make a difference, and I want to get up there and be the decision maker. So that's why I chose to run for state government.
So what would you say to somebody that says, oh, well, John Bohannon's he's the chairman of a powerful subcommittee, he works for Steny Hoyer, so he can help us in that regard. He's got all the power of incumbency with him. Mm-hmm. What would you say to those people? I like you, but I'm not sure.
Right. I say, well, first of all, how is he doing for us? You really need to look at his votes. Like over the last 8 years, he's voted to raise our taxes 28 times. And taxes is one of the major issues in the constituency in 29B. As I go door to door, they're telling me our taxes are too high. They're talking about leaving after they retire. I also tell them, as far as I know, unless we are able to unseat Steny Hoyer, Mr. Bohannon will continue his job as Steny Hoyer's senior advisor. So we're not going to lose him in that respect. He will still be up there working for Steny unless, we unseat Steny.
Could I ask you what it means to you to be a Republican?
For me, I believe in the principles of the party. I believe in a small, limited government. I believe in individual responsibility, a strong military, and low taxes.
So the strong military aspect is important to us here in St. Mary's County. How is Patch River positioned? Are we in good shape or not so good shape?
I think we're in good shape, although the windmills, the wind turbines that they're looking at putting up in Summerseat will have a huge impact on us. And it's not because of the radar signature of those turbines. So if the turbines go up, our measurement systems here will be greatly affected on our test range. And because what happens is that all these different signals will bounce off those turbines and return to the measurement devices of our test range, which will skew the data greatly. And so that will increase our test cost if we can even get good test data out of it. So if the test range were to close down because of the turbines, all that work is going to go either to China Lake or out to Edwards Air Force Base, or even possibly down to Florida. and then the jobs go along with it, and then the jobs outside the gate are affected as well. So I think that's a critical node there. And I know that they are trying to kill the project, kill those wind turbines from going up there. But that project hasn't been stopped yet. And even though they keep telling us it has, they keep saying it's all but dead. So that means it's not dead yet. So that would have a big impact on the base. And then if our test range closed down and our test programs move, then we're really left with program offices. And then the question would become, why would we have program offices here when our testing's gone? And then why the military may want to start looking at doing joint program offices. So, might move these out to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to do joint programming with the Air Force.
So how does this get resolved? Would it be an override of the governor's veto in the next session by the new legislature? Or how can it be stopped?
Well, we need to obviously work it from all levels, but definitely overriding the governor's veto to stop the project. And then the other sources that, that Mr. Bohannon has worked through the congressional, but I think there's more we can do through the state here.
I'm not sure if I know the answer to this question. How have the two gubernatorial candidates logged in on this issue? Do you know if Mr. Hogan has made any statements on it?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, just thought I would ask. Okay, so economic development, diversification, is that it's been talked about in St. Mary's County for a long time. If we protect Pax River, there's still the thought that there's too much dependence on Pax River, there ought to be some diversification. Is St. Mary's County poised to do that in any way?
Well, I think we can. Now, I know my opponent and other legislators, such as Tony O'Donnell and Johnny Wood, helped to bring in the Maryland system in here, the University of Maryland, and those other projects at the airport. But to me, that's not really diversification, because the same skill set that is hired on the base will be hired to do the UAS stuff at the airport. What we really need is jobs that require a totally different set of skills. Now, one of the things that I like talking about, because I was really excited when I saw this, I was lucky enough to be invited to a meeting to receive a briefing about e-cycling. Are you familiar with e-cycling?
Yes.
Well, okay, just in case.
But
right, just in case.
Tell our audience anyway.
E-cycling is about taking electronics and breaking them apart. Electronics that no longer work, that would need to be trashed, that you can't refurbish.
My VCR at home that
exactly.
doesn't work. Yep.
But breaking it apart and making it a commodity again. So you're taking from it, you're taking the glass, you're taking the gold, the platinum, the plastic, all the parts there, and breaking them out and creating a new commodity out of it, or recycling the commodity, which then can be sold on the market. After I had received this briefing, like 2 days later, I saw Mike Rowe on TV talk about it. And I'm like, oh, so that's what an e-cycling plant looks like. And so instead of shipping cargo vans and sea vans full of the electronic equipment overseas to be recycled, we could do that here. And the great thing about it is these are good paying jobs that require a different skill set than what is required on Pax River. I mean, you could say you don't have to be a scientist or engineer to be able to work at a plant to break apart stuff and
Sure.
recycle it.
So is there any impediment to that happening? Can St. Mary's County do that, I guess?
Well, I think we can, and it's a matter of finding the right location for the recycle plant. But of course, the impediments are the same to starting up any new business, but you'd have to work through those. EPA, of course, Department of Health, etc. But I see the possibilities, and I think we can work through them. In my opinion, government shouldn't be telling us no, they should be telling us how. Mm-hmm. And if we accept the requirements of how, then we can work through them.
So one of the things that you would do as delegate would be to assist the area in getting immediate road improvements, one being the Thomas Johnson Bridge. Has the Democratic administration worked hard enough to accomplish what we need?
Not for us. I don't believe they have. Over O'Malley's career, from what I've seen, and has been the push for mass transit. And as you know, we have a simple bus system down here. We don't have mass transit. We don't have light rail or subway system. So a lot of the money that comes into the transportation fund goes right back. It doesn't go for our roads. The majority of the money is going to pay for mass transit up in the urban areas. So when I get to be the delegate, I will work along as a team with our Southern Maryland delegates so that the Thomas Johnson Bridge becomes a state priority, not just a regional priority. We need to explain why it is a transportation node, a necessary transportation node, especially since we have the Cove Point and the LNG plant over in, or Calvert Cliffs, thank you, and the LNG plant over in Calvert, and then Pax River here. It's a critical node in our transportation system.
Well, one of your opponent's ways of accomplishing this was to vote for the increase in the gas tax.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have done that?
No, sir. In fact, I went up and testified against it. The gas tax hurts everybody, and especially down here in rural Maryland. We have a lot of people that drive 20 to 30 minutes before they see their first gas station. And it takes more money out of our pockets, which takes more freedom away from us. I think lowering taxes bring more money into the state revenue. Plus, if they stop taking money out of the transportation fund, they could do better planning with it.
I should have asked you this earlier, just kind of a mini bio of yourself. How did it occur that you wound up in St. Mary's County, and what have you been doing in your life?
Okay, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and then I went to the University of Missouri in Columbia for college, where I met my husband. I joined the United States Air Force, and I traveled all over the world. In the Air Force, I started out in information management, and that's all the knowing the rules and regs and how to negotiate your way through there. Mm-hmm. I ran the administrative section for large units. I was a section commander, which meant I was an assistant to the commander, but I had command authority, and I usually did most of the punishments in the units, which was always interesting. I've worked in a laboratory, a police unit, a munitions unit. I worked at Headquarters Air Force Materiel Command, where I was responsible for a $20 million project, software development. And my last duty assignment, I was up in New Jersey at the 621 Contingency Response Wing. And what we were responsible for was going and opening airports. Oh. So my unit went and opened New Orleans International after Katrina. And the unit that we sent down there, the team we sent down there, moved out over 23,000 people. So it was very, I really enjoyed working in that unit. It was very fulfilling, knowing that you could go in and make an impact like that.
So you filed, you're one of the first filers. You've been campaigning all year. Do you enjoy the campaigning aspect of it?
Parts of it. The main part I enjoy is meeting people and talking with them. Mm-hmm. Some of the things I don't enjoy is paperwork.
I can imagine.
But it's been a lot of fun.
Are you one of these door knockers? I understand that there are a lot of people that are knocking on a lot of doors during this campaign. Yes,
sir, I am. I don't have a lot of money in my campaign, so the best way to get out, well, even if I did have a lot of money, the best way I found is to get out and meet people, mm-hmm. To really try and engage them in conversation, see what their issues are, and maybe where I can make an impact.
So are you using a lot of volunteers, and what's the best way for people to volunteer if they like to help out?
Oh, that would be wonderful. I got a small core of people that are helping me, but If people like to volunteer on my campaign, they can go to my website, which is debrayfordelegate.com, and volunteer that way, or they can send me an email at debrayfordelegate.com.
And do you have a Facebook page then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Deb Rey for Delegate.
Sounds like you're in a group there. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Same here,
Wish you
Dick. I
best
really
of luck.
appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us in this segment of Countdown to November.